Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. It's time for another fragrance head-to-head. Two of the most popular niche fragrances of all time today going up against each other to determine which one is better. Those two fragrances are Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Baccarat Rouge 540 and by Kilian's Angel Share. Ooh, matchup of titans. So as we usually do in these videos, I'm gonna run through 10 different categories and score each one of these fragrances from 1 to 10. Then at the end, we'll add up all the scores and see which one of these comes out on top. I also did a poll where I asked you guys which one that you think is better, and at the end, I'll tell you the results of that poll and see if your opinion matches mine. And I also asked ChatGPT after I did my scoring which one they think is better using the same criteria that I used. So I'll let you know which one ChatGPT thinks is better as well. So your opinion, my opinion, and the computer's opinion. I have both of these linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. And before we jump into it, here are some codes. Use these to save some money if you shop at any of these fragrance websites. Round one, the opening. Which one of these fragrances smells better when you first spray it on? Baccarat Rouge 540 is really well known for being a sweet fragrance pretty much the whole way through. It's been compared to the smell of cotton candy more times than I can count, or candy floss, depending on where you find yourself. It's a fragrance that is completely unisex. Men or women can each pull this off just as easily as the other. It has a good amount of saffron in there and then amber woods as it dries down. As I said though, really sweet and has kind of an aroma chemical flair to it. When I say kind of, I mean totally. Then Angel Share. This one, I think it smells great. The opening here, really appealing, warm, very sweet. Once again, both of these fragrances really are extremely sweet. They just go about it in different ways. Whereas this one over here is more, like I said, saffron and almost cotton candy. Angel Share is very warm and has a lot of spices in there, cinnamon and cognac, a really strong boozy note. Both of these have very appealing openings, but to me, one is superior by a pretty good amount. Baccarat Rouge 540, I'm gonna give a 7 out of 10. While the opening is still appealing, it has kind of an alcohol tinge to it, and it doesn't really have an immediate wow factor to me when I smell that one. Angel Share, I'm gonna give a 9.5. The opening of this one is just awesome. And I think between the two, 10 times out of 10, I would rather smell the opening of Angel Share. Next category is the dry down, which is really more important than the opening because the dry down is going to be a much larger part of the lifespan of the fragrance than the opening is. And I think that in the dry down, these do get a lot closer in terms of how good they smell overall. They don't smell similar at all, but it's not as much of a blowout. So Baccarat Rouge 540, as this one dries down, it loses that kind of alcohol tinge. It warms up a little bit while still maintaining that sort of cotton candy sweetness. I think it smells a lot more appealing in the dry down. And I think that's really where this one shines. The dry down, as you're moving around, people are gonna pick that up. It smells really, really nice. And just overall, this is one of those scents that gets better as you wear it. Angel Share has a nice dry down. Not as good as the opening though, not for me. I think it loses a little bit of that wow factor when you first spray the fragrance on. You know, it loses sort of that sparkle that it has. Praline is one of the main notes here as it does dry down, so you're gonna get even more of that dessert-like gourmand feel mixing with the spices that are there from the opening. Still smells good, just not as good as the opening. But I do think it still smells better than BR 540 in the dry down. So I'm gonna give an 8 to BR 540 and an 8.5 to Angel Share. Versatility is up next, which is a really important category because you wanna be able to wear your fragrance as many times as possible, right? A lot of people out there do not want hyper specific fragrances. You know, the type of scent where you go, oh, love the way it smells. I can wear it like once a year. I mean, some people out there don't care about that, but a lot do. They'd rather be able to use their scents. And I think between the two here, BR 540 is the more versatile fragrance. I don't think it's super close. BR 540 nearly an all year fragrance, daytime or nighttime. Not quite the most versatile fragrance ever because during the summer, it's maybe a little bit too much and the way the sweetness comes across is maybe not conducive to high heat situations quite so much. So it does end up being for me more of like a 3-season fragrance, kind of fall, winter, spring. But I think you can use it daytime or nighttime, either one. A lot of versatility here, and it does have good mass appeal, of course. And then Angel Share, this is more fall, winter, and it leans more evening use than daytime use. So it's much more of a specific specific situation type of fragrance as compared to Baccarat Rouge 540. It still has good versatility during the cool weather months, so I'm gonna give it a 6.5. And a lot of that is going to be because it does have a lot of mass appeal to it, the way that it smells. So as long as the weather is kind of conducive to the scent, then you can wear it just about anywhere. BR 540 though is more versatile. Give that an 8.5. Compliment factor is up next. And this is the most important category for some people out there because they want a scent that's gonna get them noticed and get positive attention. Both of these fragrances are good at pulling compliments. That's one of the reasons that they sell so well. And this category is really going to be dependent on the person, because I know some people who have had no luck with BR 540, and I know some people that have gotten more compliments with BR 540 than any fragrance ever. The same can't be said quite as much for Angel Share. It doesn't seem to have as much of a fluctuation from person to person, but I know that BR 540 is one of those scents that for some people just absolutely crushes on like a Dior Sauvage type level in terms of compliments. For me though, By Kilian's Angel Share is the more complimented fragrance. This is just one of those scents that draws people in. It's almost like when the one Eau de Parfum was brand new from Dolce & Gabbana. That fragrance was just a compliment destroyer. That makes no sense. A compliment gainer. If it was destroying compliments, ugh. But anyway, when the one Eau de Parfum first came out, that stuff was like magic. And Angel Share has some of that. You know, it has that warm, sweet, sexy, kind of inviting scent profile to it. BR 540 is a little more ethereal. It's the type of fragrance that, you know, just kind of meanders around you. It doesn't necessarily bash people quite as much as Angel Share does. And like I said, for some people, it's gonna work much better. For other people, they're gonna be like, I went through a whole bottle, nobody cared. So for compliment factor, a 7.5 is my score for BR 540. Potential 10, also a potential 5, depending on who you are. Angel Share, a 9. Now we're getting into the performance categories. First up is longevity. How long does the fragrance last on your skin? Again, with BR 540, you will have some people tell you it lasts 10 minutes. And then it's gone. Other people will be like, it lasts 10 days, and then it's gone. The reason for that is typically anosmia. People will go anosmic. So they'll have BR 540 on, and then they won't smell it anymore, and they'll be like, oh, it's gone. I paid how much for this crap? It's not even here anymore. What's happened is you've gone nose blind to it, you've gone anosmic to it. You'll think it's not there because you're not smelling it, but as you move around, everybody else is smelling it. That happens a lot with this, a whole lot. So do keep that in mind. For me, in terms of longevity, BR 540 does last an extremely long time. So does Angel Share though. This is a very good performing fragrance, which, I mean, you can kind of look at the coloration here and the note breakdown and have a pretty good idea it's gonna be around for a while. But does it have better longevity than BR 540? For me, no. Baccarat Rouge 540 pulls a 9 out of 10, whereas Angel Share gets an 8. Both well above average. Now we're on to projection. So both of these last forever, but do they project very well? BR 540? Yes. Angel Share? Also yes. Both of these project very well. They make a great scent cloud and they leave a great scent trail as you go about your day. I'm gonna give BR 540 an 8.5 and Angel Share an 8. Both have great projection. Both are going to cut through the cold in different ways. Thought about actually bringing the projection from BR 540 down to an 8, but oftentimes it does seem like it's still projecting quite well, even when you can't smell it. Because again, nose blind. Now we're talking money. Man, these are not cheap. Value for money is the next category. Now, you can usually find BR 540 at discounters. The problem is, at some discounters, they will charge you more than what it actually goes for at retail. Yeah, I know. So we're going to use retail pricing for both of these for this category because you can't always consistently find these at discounters in stock for a price that is below retail. So we're gonna simplify it and just judge it based off of retail prices here. So this size bottle, 70 milliliters, for Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I know it's kind of a random size, but 70 milliliters, $325. You can get a 200 milliliter size for $645, which is kind of crazy. You either get 70 or 200, like that's okay. And they do have a smaller size than 70, but I think 70 is what most people would consider the standard size for these. Angel Share is more typical in terms of their sizing. It's either 50 mils, which is this one, or 100 mils. When it first came out, it was just in this size. So the 100 mil size has come out after the fact. And those run from $245 up to $380. So it's almost like the BR540. You know, it's a 70 mil size and it splits the size difference between the 50 and 100 of Angel Share, and then the pricing falls in between the pricing of Angel Share also. So overall, kind of similar pricing, even though the size is different. And in terms of value for money, yeah, considering everything else that's on the market right now, at retail, maybe not the greatest value for money. BR540, I'm gonna give a 3, and Angel Share a 4. It's just when you're getting up into those price ranges, you know, $300 and above, there's a lot of stuff out there that you can get for well under that. That's even in the same style of these. So it's hard to say that they're a great value. Now, perceived quality for price. So you're paying a premium. Do these smell like they are worth that price? Again, this is difficult because nowadays there are so many other fragrances out there similar to these that are way cheaper, way cheaper, but they do smell of good quality. Especially when you compare them to some of those cheaper fragrances. The cheaper fragrances will get the job done, smell very similar, but when you smell them side by side, you can typically pretty easily pick out which one is the big dog. But still, there is that pricing, so it does drag it down a little bit. BR540, I'm gonna give a 6.5, and Angel Share a 7. I think that between the two, when you smell these side by side, at least to me, Angel Share does come across like a little bit of a higher quality fragrance overall. Presentation time. So we're talking the bottle and the box. I think that Baccarat Rouge 540 has a better looking box, and I think that Angel Share has a better looking bottle. I think that the Angel Share box is actually really not great quality in terms of the price point that we're talking here, but then the bottle looks great. Bottle for BR540, your typical Maison Francis Kurkdjian bottle. It's classy, it's simple, it's clean. The box though, like I said, a little bit nicer than Angel Share. Overall, it's gonna be a wash for me, an 8 for both of these. Very nice looking, very good, but when you look at the whole package, neither one of them is like, oh, amazing. Other than this bottle, looks really nice. The box just seriously sucks. And we are to the final category, which is uniqueness. Now with this category, I look at it as when the fragrance came out. How unique was it? Because if you want to take this as uniqueness right now with everything else on the market that's come out since these, I would say you can put a 1 on both of these. Neither is unique at this point. With how many alternatives and clones and inspired by fragrances there are for each one of these, I mean, there are dozens for each one. So if that's how you would score it, I would give them both a 1 and just be like, nah, neither is unique at this point. That's why I judge this based on when it was released. Because basically any popular fragrance is gonna have stuff that it inspired that came out afterwards. So if you judge it based on what's out now, uniqueness is always going to be very low. So I try to give them points for, you know, as I said, when it came out, was it unique? BR540, honestly, pretty unique when you think about what else was on the market when this dropped. Sure, it's super easy nowadays to look at everything across niche fragrances, even indie fragrances, designer fragrances, clone fragrances, and see BR540 over and over and over and over again. Yeah, at that point you would just go, oh man, it's not unique at all. But when it came out, it was, which is why, because of its popularity, now it's not. Angel Share, not as unique as BR540 when it released. I don't think anybody would argue that. If they do, they're wrong. Just off the top of my head, 3 really obvious ones. Ombre Narguilé from Hermes, 1 Million Privé from Paco Rabanne, Wajan from Parfums de Marly. All 3 of those are sort of in the same style as this one. Or you would say, I guess this one is more in the style of those 3. That said, it's not completely derivative of those fragrances. Obviously, if those fragrances were Angel Share, they would have been more popular than they are. Not that they're unpopular, but you get the drift. The changes and tweaks made to this fragrance versus those elevated this one. So in terms of overall uniqueness, for me, a 9 for BR540, a 7 for Angel Share. And so when you add up the scores, BR540 gets a 75 out of 100, Angel Share a 75.5. Yeah, just that close. Now, even though those scores are extremely similar, very close, between the two, I like Angel Share more. I know it looks like I like it 0.5 out of 100 more, But no, in any circumstance where either one of these would be an option, I would wear this one probably 9 times out of 10. I like Angel Share a lot more overall. It's just when you break it down into 10 categories like this, there will be strengths for one fragrance, weaknesses for another that can kind of pull those scores in a little bit tighter than you might actually feel. But of course, Baccarat Rouge 540 at this point, it's a masterpiece. So that's taking nothing away from that one. Now let's go over your poll results and also what ChatGPT said. First, ChatGPT. So I gave it the exact same criteria that I used. It scored everything from a 1 to 10 on every category, and the score was 73 for BR540 and 73 for Angel Share. So a tie. And in terms of the community vote, it was a landslide victory for one of these, which you probably know which one it is, right? 71% to 29%, the winner was Angel Share. So at least for you guys, there is an extremely clear-cut winner here. And for me, Angel Share is the winner by 0.5 points, and also just overall, I like it more. And if I got rid of all the categories, all the 1 to 10 and everything like that, it wouldn't be as close as it is when you break it down categorically and score from 1 to 10. So there we go. Which is better, BR540 or Angel Share? Angel Share. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.